Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 2C of your musical alphabet. This will be the exercise that we focus on to get to know your fretboard and using the musical alphabet, what we learned in part 1 to do that. Now you'll see that I've basically put a table over here, and this table is basically a representation of the fretboard. Now, please remember that this is for the 5-string bass guitar. So, if you have a 4-string or a 6-string, then you're in the wrong lesson or the wrong part 2. So, go to the corresponding one. All right. So, this is basically a representation of your fretboard. Now, if you take your bass guitar and you put it on, if you're holding it as if you're practicing it, and then you put it on your lap, you just flip it back onto you on your lap, it should look upside down to you, and that's how this fretboard diagram will work for you. You will see as well that each of these columns has numbers underneath, and these numbers stand for the frets on your bass guitar. So that means that number 1 will stand for the first fret, which is over here. Number 2 will be the second fret. The third one will be the third fret, and so on until you get to the 12th fret. You'll also notice that there's a 0 over here, and this 0 stands for the nut, the piece of plastic that's holding your strings in place. Each of these rows over here, though, stand for the different strings that you have. So you'll have your first string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, or basically the thickest string over here, which should be closest to you, all the way to the thinnest string, which should be the furthest away from you. Okay, now you'll also see that I've put letters of the alphabet over there, which is basically the musical alphabet. Now, if we take a look at the thickest string, the reason why it's called B is if you pluck the string, it should vibrate at the pitch which should sound like a B. Okay, and if that is the pitch, then that is the name of the string. So if you're not fretting it, as in you're not putting your finger on any part of this string over here, if you're only plucking it with your right hand, that should be at the B pitch. Okay, so that would mean that the name of the string will be the B string. Then the next one will be the E string, the A string, the D string, and the G string. So if you're plucking the second string over here, it should make the E pitch. Okay, A, D, and G. All right, so each of these strings you'll see has a specific name, and try and remember this because it'll help you out in the end. Right, now you'll see over here that there are different blocks over here. So these different blocks would stand for your fret position. So this is the first fret position, second fret, third fret, fourth fret. And each of these, if you put your finger on, say, for example, the first fret on the A string, okay, it's going to change the pitch and it's going to change it to the next note. Now, in part 1, we spoke about the musical alphabet. We had the natural notes and then the in-betweeners. Now, for this over here, we're going to ascending order all the way to this note over here, and this will include all your naturals and the in-between notes that we have. So for example, if we're going to take a look at the simplest one, because this is the one that we should be acquainted with when we went through part 1. If I put my finger on the first fret over here, this will become A sharp, okay, because that's the next note in your musical alphabet. Then from A sharp, if we had to put our finger on the second fret, this would be B. So you can see how it's ascending and we're using sharps. Now the next one over here, what do you think the next one's going to be? If this is A sharp, B, and the next one should be? Okay, if you said B sharp, you'd be incorrect. Remember the golden rule that we spoke about in part 1. Between B and C and E and F, there are no sharps or flats. So that means if we go A sharp, B, the next one should be C. Now after C, the next note should be, okay, C sharp. Okay, well done. Then the next one will be D, D sharp. We're going to go a little bit faster now. E, E sharp. Ah, okay. If you pick that up, well done. It's not E, then E sharp. It'll be E and F. Remember the golden rule between B and C and E and F. There are no sharps or flats. Then the next one is going to be F sharp, G, G sharp, and then we continue onward into A. And that's the reason why I've put the letters over here again in the 12th fret, because when you get to the 12th fret, it continues on into the next window of notes. It'll go A sharp, and carrying on. Now, we started with this one because we start on A. So we're just going to go through those once again. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then A. All right. Now, what you're going to do as part of your homework is you are going to take this table. You're going to draw it out twice. The reason why I say twice is in the first table, you are going to ascend A sharp, B, C, so on all the way to A. And then in the second table, you're going to descend using flats. So that would mean that if you start A over here and you're moving down, it'll be A flat, and then you move on all the way to A over here. So A flat, G flat, going down. Now, that's for this string over here for both of them. But you will also need to do the D string, the G string, the E string, and the B string as well. Now, what happens with these ones? Basically, you just start wherever the natural note is. So, for example, if we take a look at D as an example, the next note is going to be D sharp, then E, then F. So it just carries on from whichever point this natural string is. Okay, and then it moves all the way to D. So you're going to practice filling in ascending, the notes ascending, and then descending in the second table. All right, so once you've done that, practice this over and over again. So the more that you practice this, the easier it'll become, and the easier you'll remember these different notes. Okay, so this is your basically your exercise and your homework for the next time that I give you a lesson. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.